In this video, I take this photo, and in itself, it's an okay photo, but it's not about the photo, it's about the journey. It all started here.
A big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video.
Dear passengers, welcome to Iceland. The local time is 20 minutes to 3.
Every photography trip begins with a mix of emotions. There's the excitement of visiting a new place and seeing new sights. That feeling of adventure and anticipation of the unknown. It might not even be a new place. Iceland is somewhere I've been lucky enough to visit many times now, but it never fails to show me something new. That excitement inevitably leads to expectation. As a photographer, you've probably seen many incredible shots of the destination you're visiting, and you're keen, almost desperate to return home with similar looking shots of your own. With that expectation comes the what ifs. What if there's no light? What if the weather isn't great? What if I make a mistake?
So whenever I go on a trip like this, a nervous excitement grips me in the days leading up to it. Every trip comes with a certain degree of apprehension.
When you think of Iceland in the winter, you think of endless snow, frozen waterfalls, the northern lights. Whilst you get those amazing conditions, you still have to be incredibly fortunate to have them all come together. Winter in Iceland is slow. It takes its time. The weather here is notoriously changeable, and November is still early in the Icelandic winter. You can't count on anything. That's what makes things hard. You want the best conditions, and no matter what you do, there will be that high level of expectancy. When it comes down to it though, you just have to make the best of the conditions that you are given. These trips are a journey. When you go somewhere epic, you are always taking photos. Often in my videos, I'm trying to show the best images from the best locations, and I think that as a professional landscape photographer, that is part of the expectation that I carry. But the reality is, I'm just like everybody. I'm constantly pulling off the road and shooting anything and everywhere, no matter if the light is good or not. You can be cursing the weather one minute, and the next you come across something unlike anything you've ever seen, and come away with a shot that you didn't expect to get. I'm in this new wondrous place, but the surroundings are epic and all-consuming, and I just want to go and photograph them, as this is all part of the journey, the adventure. A lot of these photos won't ever get shown on Instagram or anywhere really. They don't need to be. Sometimes I take a photo, it's just for me, and sometimes these photos can be the most important ones I take. There's a sense of hurry when you come somewhere like this. You've probably got a list of locations you want to tick off, a schedule to keep to. It's so tempting to try and see everything. But the adventure can be so much more meaningful if you just take your time and take in the surroundings in which you find yourself. Have an apple. With this trip, my list of locations was a list of one: Kirkjufell. Kirkjufell is one of Iceland's most iconic locations, and the main aim was to try and capture a frozen waterfall, a snow-blanketed peak, and the aurora dancing behind the iconic mountain. Should be easy, yeah? Well, my experience was far from that. I got a shot I like, but the shot didn't necessarily hold as much meaning for me as I thought. It didn't live up to the high expectations I'd set myself. And whilst the journey and adventure to get there was really incredible, it felt like the experience wasn't quite what I'd hoped for. I had to work out why. Something I love about landscape photography is being alone in the middle of nowhere, connected with the place that I am in, and experiencing Earth's wonders. That was not my experience at Kirkjufell. And I know I'm part of it, and sometimes maybe even the cause of the problem. The great thing about what we do though is the exploration. It doesn't actually take that much effort to get off the beaten track and explore areas for yourself. And the best thing is that pretty much nobody else will do this. They all follow the same path. Just 10 minutes later, I'm alone again, exploring a seldom seen part of an iconic location. this is where the real excitement is. This is why I come back to photography again and again. Being able to explore rivers, mountains, valleys and coasts in my own time, to discover and capture scenes in my own way, holds so much more joy to me than just chasing the obvious. But photography is difficult, especially when you are somewhere totally new. You can do all the planning in the world, but until you are there, with your camera in your hand, you don't really know what the experience will be like. You don't know about the light, the topography, the weather or anything else that may affect what you shoot. And that's before you've considered composition, focal length, camera settings, filters. There are so many variables that make this difficult. Photography is difficult, but you keep going, you keep practicing, and you keep exploring and trying different compositions. But you have to be there, immersed in the adventure, for this to work. And it's this adventure that to me represents the most important element of landscape photography. The feeling I have when I'm here doing this thing that I love. This is what matters, this journey, this experience. This is what I love about photography, where it takes you, the memories and adventures it brings into my life. The photos, believe it or not, they don't always work, but when they do, that's the cherry on top of the cake.
It doesn't get better than this.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Something a little bit different, taking this photo and just talking about the journey. And it really is important, isn't it? The journey is a massive part of why we do landscape photography, certainly for me anyway. And we can get caught up with getting those iconic shots, but you just step a little bit away from the crowds, and it was so obvious there. And do you know, I want to thank Jeroen, my friend who lives in Iceland, who just said to me, just try and get away from Kirkfell. There's lots of different places to look at. And yeah, I had to remind myself that that is so, so important. So I'd love to know what you thought of the video. It is a little bit different. I'm not going to be doing those types of videos all the time. Let me know in the comments below, and that would be really fantastic. You know, do you want more of these? Obviously, the majority of my videos are going to be me out giving tips, maybe doing some studio tips as well, just as usual. But occasionally, I like to mix in some different things. Also, thanks to Rick for massively helping with this, because without him, I just couldn't have done a video like that. Okay, I'm going to write a blog about this. I've not started it yet. This is Friday, so I've got to finish it really quickly. Luckily, I'm going to use Squarespace, and Squarespace is fantastic if you've not got any technical skills and you just want to create your own website, blog, online store or whatever. It really is super, super simple. So I'll put a link to Squarespace in the description below. You can get 10% off if you use offer code Nigel or go to squarespace.com/Nigel, and you can create pages like this and this blog about the journey and photos that I took when I was in Iceland, where the weather this time was really awful. Thanks ever so much for watching, and until next Sunday, bye.